Okay, we are live here at the William M. Comer Federal Building. Charles Pluky Bolton was just arraigned along with his wife. And we weren't able to catch him coming in today. The side was full of supporters on his side. We had Frazier Bolton, former police chief, was there along with Jim Dukes, Jeffrey Nicholson, Carl Nicholson's son, Clarence McGee, Forest County NAACP president was there in attendance. Councilwoman Deborah Delgado was also there, or here. What was really interesting, no one really expected to see there, was Mike Hurst, the former U.S. attorney, who initially started the prosecution into the jail food theft that Alan Harrelson and Jerry Wayne Woodland pled guilty to. He was there. Suspect that maybe these investigations might be connected in some way. Mr. Bolton's indictment was redacted, which did not include anything other than just the 10 counts of tax evasion related to his sports bar, catering, and the liquor store. So we have Councilwoman Deborah Delgado. Here she is, along with Clarence McGee, Forest County NAACP president. We have Mr. Jim Dukes coming out here as well. Okay. Accepted to the media. Thank you, Mr. McGee. Okay, got Mr. Jim Dukes here coming up. Mr. Bolton's being represented by attorney Joe Sam Owen. He's an exceptional federal defense attorney from the coast, known as probably one of the best in the state. And don't know this for sure, but just talking to different attorneys in the community and people who know what retainers are in these cases, something like this could be a $50,000 retainer, maybe even more. Okay. Mike Hurst is in the suit in the back, gray suit. He ran for Attorney General against Jim Hood. He did not win, but he also prosecuted Epps with the prison corruption, and he's been very successful at what he does.
I will. Good to see you. Oh, you're fine. Seeing you at the football game.
How you doing, Ms. Hurst? All right. There's a former police chief, Frazier Bolton.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you, man.
It is still sitting there. Isn't it?
That's what he got?
No, he came in with. Yeah, I heard it. Well, just seeing the car was still there. He didn't have to. I didn't mean he was going to drive away with us. How's everyone? Good. Y'all better get your umbrella.
We're still waiting on Mr. Charles Bolton, his attorneys. We're still waiting on Charles Bolton to come out of the federal building here.
Where were you on the 31st?
My truck when I crank up, hold that thing. Give you a push start. I knew it.
Oh, you weren't lying, were you?
How'd he get there?
Cadillac.
Still gotta get to the Cadillac. So I heard he. We're still waiting on Charles Bolton to come out. He's parked in the back, so he's got to make it through this way. I heard he stopped and talked to y'all this morning.
Why we ain't got away?
I don't know. Tom, there's a hole in your shirt.
Well, at least mine's not inside out.
Neither's mine.
Yours was inside out in court, folks. We had
Luckily,
a,
it's such a high quality shirt, it doesn't matter. Couldn't tell.
some people listening. I come into court, I look at mine, he's with WDAM, and his shirt was inside out.
You know, we got up early for fun. And ran out the door with her shoe on.
And he's pointing out I have a hole in my shirt.
I forgot you were live streaming.
I'm
You say
live.
hey to- Hey, MK. I know you're watching.
You know, you are ready for a story when you put your shirt on inside out. I've done that before too, I'll tell you.
Walk across the parking lot?
Yeah, back when we could just walk across the street over here. And then we could go a little further to the bottom.
Yeah. Fast, just come out.
Downtown seems to be making a little comeback.
Who's that?
Downtown. There's some exciting things happening.
Oh, this weekend, this month has been.
Yeah. But I mean the new businesses and
Saturday, folks are going to be rappelling off that wall.
that's right. Johnny Dupree's gonna be rappelling off a wall for Robert St. John's Extra Table charity. And I'm gonna be securing his harness and
Checking it twice.
no, we wish the mayor and the charity all the best. It's a great charity. They work on feeding the homeless here in the community. Robert St. John does a great job with that. And I hope it's a big turnout downtown here on Saturday, and hope they raise a lot of money for charity to help hungry people in our community. Yeah, the question is, what's going to happen with Pluki on this board? Everybody wants to see something happen. They don't think that someone who's under a 10-count tax evasion indictment ought to remain on the board. And he's up for reappointment in June. However, sources who did not want to be named said that Lynn Cartledge and Carl Nicholson really wanted the board to put Pluki up for reappointment the Monday prior to the indictments coming down, and they just didn't do it. I guess they didn't have the votes to make it happen. But imagine that. People are trying to get ahead, 3 months ahead of his actual term, and wanting to rush an appointment through on a Monday, and he's indicted on a Wednesday. So, people should be questioning these motives and look at who is pushing for this stuff. Well, we're still waiting on Charles Pluki Bolton and his wife to come out of the federal courthouse.
Your shoes untied.
Yeah, it is.
Why do they call him
Huh?
that? Why do they call him that?
I think his grandmother named him Pluki.
He said it in open court that time.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, because they asked him when he was under oath. That's how he got that name.
It's just fascinating that his indictment was redacted and not all of the information was made available to the public. And there is a document on file that you have to have a password, username and password to access. It's for law enforcement, obviously, and investigators, prosecutors. So we don't know what the full indictment says. But my theory is we know that the feds and the state auditor were investigating food. That came out in the media in June or July of 2014. They tipped their hand to that investigation. They went back several years, it was reported, and then they went back another 4 or 5. And I think the investigation went back about 14 years on the jail food. Alan Harrelson and Jerry Wayne Woodland pled guilty. Mr. Harrelson died. He had some health problems. A lot of people were wondering if there was something to that, and there was never anything that came out that would have shown that there was anything other than natural causes at play on his unfortunate and untimely death. But they did plead guilty. Jerry Wayne Woodland has not been sentenced yet, so his sentence has been continued. And then the indictments on this tax evasion. I have spoken to several employees of the Forest County Sheriff's Department, former employees actually, and they caught trustees coming up from the kitchen with contraband, with phones, with drugs. They were working at all hours of the night preparing food, and food was going out the door there in the kitchen in big pans, like you'd put in a buffet line, or you just serve at a restaurant or a catering company. And so it's suspected that Harrelson was running, along with Woodland, were running an operation out of the jail. And it would be hard to believe that people above them didn't know this was going on. It's really, really hard to believe that, that this could go on for years. And we're talking about basically a active kitchen for a catering and company and restaurant, practically being run out of the jail. And this is what was reported to myself by multiple former employees, some of whom actually wrote up the trustees for bringing contraband in the jail, or having possession of contraband when they were coming back from the kitchen. And it's a mess. It really is. And all the people who have passed this information along have been, that information's been passed along.
That'd be AT&T. No, sir.
Thanks for watching.
If the people in this community want to have excellence, we have to fight cronyism and corruption. And everybody has to play a role in that. If you know something, you need to report it. People want to make this about a black and white issue. It's not. It's a good old boy system. It's a crony system. And it's about friends and family, and it affects everybody across the whole community. And we have a school district that's failing. They just laid off 45 employees, I believe, and have strong information to support that the district will be taken over. They're just trying to, hope they can get it through until the end of the school year, so it's not doesn't create any type of disruption until the kids are out of school. But I think the community can't expect that the district is going to take it over, and the state's going to take over the district. And at that point, they'll loan $3 million to the district interest-free, and then that will allow the district to operate. But they're making some tough cuts. A lot of these programs are going to, be gone. And there are people on the school board. I spoke to Ms. McAbee in the mall. She asked me to stop and speak with her, which I did, and appreciate that. One of the things that people are going to likely say in defense of this debacle of our school mismanagement is that, well, we had all this Katrina money coming in, and then the Katrina money ran out, and you know, it just, that's what happened. Katrina money ran out. Well, we did have Katrina money, and it did start running out, or it did run out around 2010. And in 2011 is when they started borrowing money against our taxes, and they ended up borrowing about 6 out of 7 million from our taxes. Now, there's some bankers connected to the district, so they get a lot of the business, and I'm sure they're happy to loan us money. But we borrowed 6 out of 7 million dollars on that, and then our fund balance, which should have been $5 or $6 million operating each month, we should maintain a minimum of 4 to 6 in our bank account. It got drawn down to about $700,000, $800,000. And that was back in September or October. And the state auditor actually sent in a rapid response team back in, I want to say it was January, it was a couple months ago. And these guys had badges on their belts, and they were in there looking at everything. There's any criminal wrongdoing, but the amount of money, and just used the bank loans to fund a district that was on a trajectory for bankruptcy. And one borrowed $1 million the first year that Bacchus came in. I think there's a couple million the next year, a couple million the next year, another million, and it just put us in the hole. And you have a board up there that just, many of them are just not capable of understanding the numbers that were on the reports and looking at these audits. And there's no law that says you have to have any school administration or even any school experience to be a school board trustee in a municipality. And that is just probably the biggest problem. When you go to criticize the board members, they want to say, well, there's no law that says that I have to have experience. I'm not really blaming them, but you look at who is being appointed. They're being appointed by the mayor, and if the mayor's not appointing people capable of understanding audits and financial situations and where the district is heading, why can't you blame the mayor? There's so many people who just don't want to put accountability where the buck stops. The buck stops with the mayor. Yeah, the council approved them, but the mayor's appointing friends. He's appointing people who can garner him votes, and while it may get him reelected, it's not doing our kids any favors. It's not doing our community any favors. Do we know if he left yet? No. Well, I guess his car's back there. What's that? Okay. Mr. Bolton will be able to continue to carry his firearm in the course of his duty while he's serving as the duty of a deputy sheriff. That's what the judge said. His wife may not keep a firearm. Both Chief Deputy Charles Bolton, and he's also, let's not forget, he's a member of the Forest General Board of Trustees. He will be, both of them will have to stay confined to the area of the Southern District in the state of Mississippi. That's Hinds County and south to the coast. They can't leave that district without talking with their probation officers. And
It ain't on. Thank you.
we're all right.
He ain't got here point twice.
And what I want to know is, how are you a sheriff and a chief deputy sheriff, and you've got the people right below you, Alan Harrelson, and that entire kitchen and all the trustees running a food service operation out of the kitchen, stealing food and using trustee labor to prepare it. How do you not know that's going on, folks? For 14 years, 12 years, however long it is, 12 to 14 years, you don't know? And what about people who are bidding against these catering companies? Honest people who have to pay for labor, who don't have trustees to make their food for them, and who aren't able to, run a hustle and steal briskets and clam strips. How do honest people compete with that? They can't. Honest people can't compete. Honest people didn't compete. Just to kind of rehash again today, there's several people of interest here in the courtroom, sitting on Mr. Bolton's side of the aisle. His attorney is Joe Samoan. The special prosecutor appointed to prosecute Mr. Bolton is Fred Harper. He's out of their Baton Rouge, the U.S. Attorney's Baton Rouge office. Joe Samoan is representing Pluki, and Mr. Holmes is representing his wife, Linda. So they have separate attorneys. Mr. Jim Dukes was in attendance. Mr. Jeffrey Nicholson was in attendance. Mr. Clarence McGee was in attendance, and he has handed a flyer out to the media, so we'll get to that later. But he is alleging that this entire production of prosecution is racially motivated. Now, I don't know how he comes to that conclusion, considering the U.S. attorney is black. He was appointed by Obama, and he's the one that's going after Epps. You have the U.S. attorney, then you have the assistant U.S. attorney, who really does the heavier lifting on specific cases, with the U.S. attorney providing guidance along the way. So we have a black U.S. attorney appointed by President Barack Obama, and we have a Forest County NAACP President Clarence McGee, who handed out this flyer. Flyers right there, and it's a press release. Let's see here. The City of Hattiesburg mayor election produced a bitter racial divide, pitting the incumbent mayor Johnny Dupree, who is African American, against a sitting city councilman Dave Ware, who is white. Does anybody see where this is going? Okay, somebody please let Mr. McGee know that he needs to send this complaint to the black U.S. attorney Gregory Davis, and love to get Mr. Davis's comment on this race baiting that's going on here. The community, black and white, are sick and tired of corruption. They want corrupt people who are black and white. They want them gone. We want honest people in there who aren't cronies, who aren't going to serve their pastor, their brother, their sister, their lover. That's all people want. That's all black people want. That's all white people want. We all want the same thing. And until we can unite and demand these things together, we're going to have people in our community that are going to use the tool of racial division to divide us and to accomplish their mission, which is a big smoke screen, and to run cover for the power structure that is doing them favors. Clarence McGee is just another crony, another cog in the wheel of the machine, of the problemed machine that we have here in Hattiesburg. We got inmates out there who are getting subpar food, and there are a lot of inmates out there, folks, who are poor. They had some tickets and some old fines from traffic stops, and they can't afford to pay them because they can barely put food on their table. And so we're going to jail these people because they can't pay these fines, and then we're going to serve them subpar meals, while the rest of them out there are stealing food and selling it out the back door, allegedly. Harrelson and Woodland did admit to stealing food and delivering it to different places. So, you know, that's admitted. But this whole food theft, trustee, kitchen machine, you know, it takes money from the food budget. We could put a little bit more, 50 cents more in a meal for some poor person who is in there for a suspended driver's license ticket they can't afford to pay, or a no insurance ticket they can't afford to pay. And we're going to lock them up. They're going to lose their job if they've got one, and then we're going to feed them a bologna sandwich. And meanwhile, the administration and people in that kitchen are going to walk out the door with clam strips and beef briskets, and put mom and pop, who are running an honest business, out of business. They're taking food off everybody's table, it looks like. Well, the sun's coming out, so at least it's working in our favor for not having to stand out in the rain. Well, we're still waiting on Charles Bolton. I want to ask everybody who's new, or even if you're not new, I'm sure you have friends who don't know about this site. Please share it. Please let people know. And if you're on a desktop version, I'm not sure about the mobile, but if you're on a desktop version where it says like, you can click on that button and you can add, make sure all the updates that are on Hasbro Patriot come in over your news feed. Otherwise, Facebook only selects a smaller percentage. So I don't post a lot of stuff on that site that's just, most of it is relevant and informative. And we don't have a lot of posts unless there's, big story breaking or something. I mean, sometimes there's several days and there's no post, and then one day there may be 6. So you don't want to miss out on those when they happen. The YouTube channel, if you're on a desktop version, you can click on the YouTube tab and you'll see a subscribe button there. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, or my YouTube channel on the online, and when a new video goes up or a new live broadcast hits the channel, you'll be notified, so you won't miss anything. There's going to be some times that there's going to be some live broadcasts that are going to happen just spontaneously as news happens, and you are not going to want to miss those. Yeah.
Hello? Yes.
I think they're waiting on us to leave. Huh? I'm not leaving either. I'm off all day. You want to get some food delivered?
That was small engine repair. My pressure washer broke and I had to get it fixed. They were calling letting me know it was ready. I would love to get some food, but that would be nice. Should have been a Qdoba 30 minutes.
Thursday? Pork chop Thursday, that's right. Pork chop Thursday today, Mom and Dad.
What do you think he's doing up there? Well, they fingerprinted him, didn't they? So he was fingerprinted. I thought I heard him say that.
Pressure washer broke. And like, all I know is like I felt somebody staring at me. And I just kept
We were still waiting on Charles Pluky Bolton to come out
glancing
of the courthouse.
Finally, he goes from just doing this to going like that. I'm like, oh, okay, got it now. Got it now. Didn't recognize
Tom,
Yeah,
lean it right here and tie your feet.
that's what I'm trying to figure out. I want to,
I know. Just lean it right there and tight.
because I know if he comes out, my shoe's not tied.
You're liable to hurt yourself.
Okay, thank you.
We're even, right?
We are.
How many viewers you got right
You know, I can't tell on this.
Sometimes you can, though, right? I remember seeing one that we did have that one time you could tell.
Well, I had live stream before. That was $100 a month, and since I don't make any money, it got kind of expensive. So I discontinued it, and what?
He's interviewing another.
We're killing time here. We've got the WDAM interview in the Hattiesburg American.
Today it was mostly
Sports, huh?
no. Today started off as potentially
Tornadic
right.
activity.
Weather was on the radar.
Yeah.
Weather was on the radar.
Weather is often on the radar.
Right. Weather was on the radar. And then it calmed down pretty quick. So
When you headed over
we
here.
scratched that. No, then I went to Walmart.
Walmart.
Picked up some groceries. Let me finish.
Yes.
Picked up some groceries, and then came in.
That's an exciting day.
It's been a good day so far.
Exciting
And I
day.
got football. I got football practice at 3 o'clock.
Who's playing football?
Southern Miss.
Football practice.
Yep, spring camp. So I'll be there for that.
What do you think of the Golden Eagles this year?
Huh?
What do you think of the Golden Eagles this year? Or they just started?
They just started.
Ah.
This will be their 4th practice. Obviously,
Okay, you can hang on to it.
this will be the 4th.
Improv.
That's right.
Improv news with Ryan Moore. Isn't technology wonderful? I mean, this is just amazing that someone can stream almost HD video off a phone. turning media on its head.
I stopped what I'm doing.
Well, we're rolling, but I turned the camera. Let's see. Can you give us a comment? We got some people watching live.
I bet not. Doing a great job.
That was Mike Hurst, former U.S. Attorney, Assistant U.S. Attorney, and former candidate against Jim Hood for Attorney General. And Mr. Hurst would have made a fine Attorney General. He is really concerned about fighting corruption in the state of Mississippi. And our current Attorney General seems to be more focused with things that aren't as relevant as corruption in local governments.
He wanted to be seen in that car today.
You talking about the old Cadillac?
It's a Lincoln. Looks like a Kennedy Lincoln.
Oh, now who's driving that? That's Hurst.
Yeah, the third one, everything. Like I said, it's a Kennedy Lincoln. I think he makes it right there.
There's Hurst in his old car.
I know what you know. Where the black one is, I know where green is. Seems cool.
Well, they sure are up there a long time, aren't they? And it would appear that Mr. Hurst was up there with them with his briefcase.
Going on an hour or something.
Wonder what they were talking about up in there, what they're talking about up in there right now. How long have we been out here?
Almost an hour. 12:20. We walked out of there, I think, at 11:35.
You got him coming in, so we'll do that. I'm not worried about.
Huh?
There's somebody came to the building and turned around and did like a 180.
Well, they went out that side area over here, but there's probably an employee.
Marshall?
Is
We're still waiting on Charles Bolton to come out of this federal building. He and his wife have been up there, I guess, talking to federal investigators or prosecutors for a while. They've been talking to somebody. They're not up there playing funsies. Let's see. Okay, well, we're still waiting. Mr. Bolton will have to report to a probation officer for pretrial probation. Guess that's what they called it. He will not have to surrender his weapon. His wife will. He will be able to keep it as long as he is performing his law enforcement duties. The prosecutor did not push for him to not have a weapon. They did not want to hurt his ability to maintain his employment. Generally, under these circumstances, you would see someone probably suspended with pay, which I think most people would be okay with. You can't have someone out being effective as a law enforcement officer when they're under a 10-count indictment for tax evasion. But they are innocent until proven guilty, and that's something that we have to remind ourselves. He did plead innocent or not guilty to the charges. He has a pretrial. Let's see, let me pull my notes out. He's got, yeah, let's see. May 5th. Mark your calendars if anybody wants to come up here. May 5th is the pretrial conference, or a chance for him to change his plea. I guess that since he's been indicted, he's up there talking to people right now. I'm sure he's being advised by counsel. And, he has until May 5th to plead guilty and cooperate, I would imagine, and I guess he would have to become a federal witness at that point against some other possible crimes in order for him to get a favorable sentence recommendation by the U.S. Attorney's Office. So, we did have Ms. Delgado, Councilwoman Deborah Delgado was here today. Clarence McGee was here, Forest County NAACP president. Jeffrey Nicholson, Carl Nicholson's son, was here representing, along with someone else that used to, I think, work at the firm. Mr. Jim Dukes was here. Mr. Fraser Bolton, former police chief of Hattiesburg, was here. Mr. Bolton was represented by Joe Sam Owen. Mr. Fred Harper is the prosecutor. He is an appointed prosecutor. The current U.S. attorney here in the Southern District recused himself for whatever reason. Likely, we think it may have had something to do with, the law enforcement crossovers with federal and county, and they knew each other in those channels, and so this special prosecutor was appointed to avoid any perceived conflicts of interest. Of course, Mon was here with WDAM. His shirt was inside out. We got him. We got him dressed properly. We are even, I guess. I've got a hole in my shirt, and my shoe was untied. So. are still waiting. You know, he could be up there for hours if he's has a lot he wants to talk about.
Maybe looking at us through the window going, yeah, they're still here.
Is it him on the treadmill?
Is he on the treadmill?
Somebody's on the treadmill.
I don't think it's Mr.
I see
Bolton.
what you're saying too, you're right. I see what you're saying.
You just get the coffee style.
No, that's fair. He doesn't care. You know, that's what he is.
Well, we are still in hurry up and wait mode. I mean, and there, everybody's just waiting. Nobody's going anywhere. It's gonna be like one of those campouts at Best Buy on around Christmas time. We'll have tents out here waiting on them to come out. They got to shut this place down sometime.
Talking to him.
Okay. That's freestyle.
I guess.
Hey, you heard the story about him taking a line drive in the face? Yeah. The line drive in the head is pretty good.
Oh, yeah, that was great. That was a great time.
High school.
No, I was 13 years old. Well, yeah, 13 years old. Right down the street.
That happened here?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the park. In the park. Right in the face. Right here. Ha.
Baseball to the face.
It was lights out. No, it wasn't there.
Yeah, we're sure.
We went to some Super Bowl down in Orlando. We went down a couple of days and we had a couple of events and activities like that. One of the events, one of the days before the Super Bowl was a Beyonce concert. Where she walked on stage and national anthem.
Yeah.
We are still waiting on Charles Pluky Bolton to come. We don't know that he's in there with them, but it makes sense. His attorney's there. They're there. Well, sooner or later, somebody's got to eat. I imagine Plukey's getting pretty hungry by now. I know I am. We're at an hour now.
Freaky fast. Take all of us.
If you're just now tuning in, we are waiting. We've been waiting about an hour. Mr. Charles Bolton was indicted on, and his wife were indicted on 10 counts of tax evasion. They pled not guilty, and they have been up there for going on an hour or more. They're still there with their attorneys. All the supporters have left long ago. Former Assistant U.S. Attorney Mike Hurst, who was here, he came out of the federal building about 15 minutes ago and left. He had a big bag in his hand.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Apartments, did you?
No, I was a little bit. The house actually isn't there anymore.
Oh, because I know the one. It was on 23rd?
24th.
Oh,
South
okay.
24th Avenue.
Okay.
Stayed in there. Katrina moved out a few months later. And after we moved out, I got to start putting together a story. But yeah, I mean, they just said So it would have been the third block.
Yeah, third block. I was third. Is that just where the house torn down?
It's the house I lived in.
Next door to that was this FEMA trailer. Down. A lot of it. Say, you haven't reindeer.
That's why I see it.
You haven't reindeer for
That's why I need that.
So do we know who was living in the houses that the
They're still there.
whoever lives there is still there?
Did you go? You went?
No, that's Marvin Eve.
He's in town today.
Or well, you don't have to.
She knows.
She's working with some
I think that she does that really well. That's a good job.
Please. C Street is very good.
If his attorneys are still here, he's here. They're not going to let him come out without him. Not with me here, you think? You know, because I want to ask some really tough questions.
We'll know when we hear him, right?
You might.
What do you say?
I want to know how he didn't have any clue that you had a whole kitchen full of trustees making massive amounts of prep food and stealing food for 12 years, and how he didn't know anything about it. I can't, yeah. It's incredible that there's even an answer for that. I want to know if he's cooperating with the federal prosecutors now.
But they do too.
Well, he sure has been up there a while.
Not as far as you think. Every time you watch between Garmin, there's an interference that he's broadcasting. There's like a wave of energy around it.
It's called good karma. It is.
Right. Radioactive good Garmin. Like say if he crosses paths, if Garmin's between us, it just goes south step. So it's like you're stepping on my wireless feed.
So what do you? We're back. Feed went down for just a second. Where Facebook's got the new live broadcast on the personal profiles. Yeah. Wish they'd start doing that on pages.
Probably would if we pay for it.
We're at 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Should be full. So who shot Lauren's live shot just now? That was circle.
We are burning some data today. Somebody coming? Here we go. Mr. Bolton, his wife.
No, sir.
Appreciate it.
All right, you guys have a good one.